I was being manipulated and they're not following through with their original
Manipulated
agreement.
by whom?
She broke these laws.
She being whom?
They're,
Ma'am, I'm gonna have to stop you because I'm not clear what you're talking.
well, I think that there's a
I'm as lost as you are with this, Judge. Ms. Malik has called my office and left over 120 voicemails. She's made threats against my bar license. She's made threats against my family. She's made threats against my office staff.
why am I?
Ma'am, you have interrupted me numerous times.
I'm sorry.
That needs to stop.
Could you please a little courtesy where this is concerned, please?
You've not granted me any courtesy in terms of your talking. Why should I grant you any?
I feel swindled.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Adam.
Information I can receive from you today, sir. I have been in a very
This courtroom turned into a full-blown circus the moment the squatter Karen showed up, acting like she pays rent in the judge's chambers. She talked over everyone, ignored every warning, and somehow made it through half the hearing without getting held in contempt. Honestly, a miracle. Judge Simpson gave her way more leash than most judges would, but once she pushed too far, he cut the mic and shut it all down. And yeah, she's not the victim here. She's the one illegally living in someone else's home while playing the courtroom like it's open mic night. So was the judge too calm or just waiting for her to bury herself? Let's go ahead and dive in.
horrible assaultive position.
Okay, let me
Left your
hold on a second.
Okay.
State your name for the record.
Danette Melick.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Miller.
Well, I entered your courtroom honorably last year at this time. I came in as a plaintiff.
Okay.
And when I swore in, I gave some information about one company, Akram Rashid, merging with a new owner. At that time, I, the customer, was not given the respect, nor any other tenant in my building, underneath the laws to meet this person as a consumer. It is of complete responsibility for a new company to acquire the permission of the tenant, where money is concerned, to enter a good consumer relationship. This did not happen. Time proceeded, and this maintenance company decided to enter person's property with no permission, started to manipulate them, stealing possessions, stealing automobiles.
Hey, ma'am, can I ask you something?
Sure.
Is this your motion to set aside the judgment?
Well, I did set it aside, and we met that agreement. An attorney named Kevin Callahan sat in a court with me as a plaintiff. According to the law, there are no attorneys allowed. So I tried to motion in at the end of August because I recognized.
Hold on, no attorneys allowed where?
When I first met with you, Your Honor, I went into a small claims, and I was underneath the impression through the courses of the law that there were no attorneys allowed in a small claim. So something kind of got jangled up. I presented charges.
Ma'am, hold on.
Okay.
Okay, because I want to make sure that I've got everything in front of me. Was there a small claims case?
Yes. And at that time, we made an agreement.
Go ahead.
That after August, which was Akram Rashid's current lease, that there were not supposed to be any changes to, yet that wasn't the case. I would be on a month to month. I raised my right hand. Kevin Callahan, yourself, and I made that agreement. He swore to me, my mother, which then reported it to my banks. I reported it to my private attorneys in New York City.
The entitled defendant struts into courtroom with a smirk that says she thinks she owns a place. She leans on the podium, popping her gum, whispering jokes to her friend in the back row, and right in front of Judge Boyd. When the judge begins reviewing the charges, the brat laughs under her breath, rolling her eyes dramatically. Judge Boyd pauses, looks up, and the tension hits the room like thunder.
That managed my work, and I contacted the courts. I talked to him verbally over the phone from his office in St. Clair Shores, and he stated to me that I swear, you're going to receive that sheet of paper. I waited and I waited and I waited. Spring and summer came to fruition and I called the courts. It's getting, later in the year. Where's the sheet of paper? It was as easy as that. There was no failure of me to make the payment. I still have the finances set aside. I feel like they are trying to retaliate against me because I've continued to make reports, which is my sole discretion. I have the right to do that. Between the Michigan State Police.
She's out here talking about retaliation like she's the victim of some corporate conspiracy, but the reality is she's been living in someone else's house for free and acting like it's her birthright. Month to month, leases don't mean immunity, and judges don't take kindly to tenants who weaponize legal buzzwords without understanding a single one. Her energy isn't even chihuahua anymore. It's more like a raccoon in a garbage can at 3 a.m. Loud, stubborn, and impossible to reason with. And that poor attorney next to her, he looks like he's regretting law school one eye twitch at a time.
That were called on numerous occasions by other.
Ma'am, I'm going to have to stop you because I'm not clear what you're talking.
Well, I think that there's a position here where there's charges that he wanted to dismiss, but because he did not fulfill the obligation that he promised me, by August, I was being manipulated and they're not following through with their original agreement.
By whom?
I, yourself, and Callahan last January coming into February. We sat in the Zoom conference. I presented the paperwork that was unorthodox.
Judge, if I may, I have information
owner.
on this. I can.
And this change of ownership will not affect your lease agreement. She put unless otherwise indicated in your current signed lease. Well, unless otherwise means I can't do what I'm claiming I'm going to do. She broke these laws.
She being whom?
EJ Elizabeth Jefferson, who claimed to be a property manager that no one had ever met. There is no legible address. The Attorney General states that she's not a registered or licensed person. The federal offices told me not to be in business with them.
Ma'am,
yep.
I'm going to tell you right now, you've lost me.
From the very beginning, I presented, the first time I came in to see you, I presented both pieces of paper.
Stop for a moment.
Okay.
I had them pull a small claims case involving yourself against Bell Management.
Yeah, they did things that were illegal. Fair housing.
Ma'am, that was over a year ago. I would like to say I absolutely remember that.
Yeah.
But I don't.
I'm in dismay myself, sir, because I made that agreement with you. I clearly don't allow a judge or myself to be taken advantage of by an attorney's office.
Well, I don't know that I've been taken advantage of.
I believe I have been.
Okay.
I would not enter your courts to present this witness information as very
Ma'am, stop for one moment.
Okay.
Let me hear, I've heard from you for a while. Let me hear from the other side.
Okay.
Mr. Callahan.
Thank you, Judge. Kevin Callahan, P78273, representing Bell Asset Management. The matter that Ms. Malik is speaking of was a previous matter, a small claims matter that was filed against my client in conjunction with a non-payment of rent matter that we filed against Ms. Malik. Those matters have been decided. Those matters are closed. It has no bearing on this matter whatsoever. This current case, Ms. Malik even admitted she's on a month-to-month tenancy. We provided a 30-day notice to Ms. Malik. She never showed up to court, so a default judgment was entered back in October against Ms. Malik. We subsequently filed a writ of eviction. That writ was signed by Your Honor, and now we get this motion to set aside that default 2 months after the default was entered, alleging that no attorney present and it was against her rights. And I'm as lost as you are with this, Judge. There's no basis to set this judgment aside. Ms. Malik is a month-to-month tenant. she has to vacate the property. However, I will say for the record, because I'm not going to let my reputation possibly be besmirched on the record here of doing anything illegal or improper, Ms. Malik has called my office and left over 120 voicemails accusing me of crimes under the federal law that don't exist, made threats against
The
me,
FBI
my
told me
family.
that.
Ms. Malik, I allowed you to speak. Please allow me to speak. She's made threats against my bar license. She's made threats against my family. She's made threats against my office staff. It has been deplorable what my staff has gone through with Ms. Malik over a situation that is a simple month-to-month termination, and Ms. Malik refuses to leave the property, Judge. We're just asking for that judgment to stand and the writ to stand so that my client can move forward.
Leave the property. I never made any threats to anybody's family.
So let me get this straight. She's the innocent tenant, yet
Instead of stopping, the brat doubles down. She imitates the judge's tone. She repeats sentences in a mocking, high-pitched voice. She even laughs after being corrected, as if the entire courtroom is her stage. Her attorney sinks in his chair. The prosecutor looks stunned, and the gallery watches in disbelief. Then she says the one line that crosses a line. "Lady, you take this way too seriously." The courtroom goes silent.
She's made threats against my bar license. She's made threats against my family. She's made threats against my office staff. It has been deplorable what my staff has gone through with Ms. Malik over a situation that is a simple month-to-month termination, and Ms. Malik refuses to leave the property, Judge. We're just asking for that judgment to stand and the writ to stand so that my client can move forward.
Leave the property. I never made any threats to anybody's family.
So let me get this straight. She's the innocent tenant, yet somehow she's also the one threatening attorneys and harassing staff. That's not a misunderstood renter, that's a walking lawsuit with Wi-Fi. These types weaponize housing laws like they're running a scam out of a playbook, knowing the system moves just slow enough to protect them. And honestly, the scariest part is that she probably thinks she's the hero in this story.
I never made any threats to anybody. I did call the office. I asked him for the sheet of paper that he promised. He said he would give me a month to month after August. I said, what is going on? I said, give me the oral confirmation or the written confirmation, and I'm going to continue to pay the money from August onward. I asked your court, I said, may I please have the sheet of paper?
Ma'am.
I did not threaten anybody.
Okay, fine. I don't know anything about that.
And
I'm not.
if he made an
Ma'am,
agreement about a month to
ma'am,
month,
ma'am,
why am I?
Ma'am, you have interrupted me numerous times.
I'm sorry.
That needs to stop.
I did not threaten anybody.
Okay,
Okay.
fine. Always
Just
two sides to
horribly
a story.
Rude.
But the reality here is you're before the court challenging, you're asking me to set aside a judgment to stay the writ.
She then told me, she flip-flopped with me 3 times. She put another sheet of paper underneath my door asking me, E.J. Jefferson. She
Ma'am,
asked
has
me if I
nothing-
abandoned my
Ma'am,
unit.
ma'am.
Then she tried to take the money out
Ma'am,
3
okay,
times
ma'am,
in
I'm gonna,
September
you know
and
what I'm gonna do,
October.
ma'am, here's what I'm gonna do.
But there was no order.
Ma'am, I'm gonna pass
She
the matter.
asked me to move out.
Quit interrupting me.
Yeah, she's still
Quit
trying to take the money.
interrupting me. That's warning 2. On the third one, I act. You're before the court to set aside the judgment and the writ.
Yes.
So that the record is clear, the judgment was entered for failure to appear at 2 hearings. First one being October 6th, and then on October 20th. I issued of 2023. I issued the judgment.
Because I thought that the month to month would be honored. That's all. That's all that he gave me. It was all the information I went by, was what I was sworn in. When I'm underneath oath, an agreement is made, nothing happened other than me calling his office and asking for that sheet of paper. I diligently, respectfully, and responsibly, as
Ma'am, you can have a seat before I find you or recalls the case, Bell Asset Management versus anything. Because this is going way far afield.
At this point, she's not defending herself. She's auditioning for a courtroom meltdown highlight reel. Judge Simpson's giving her rope, and she's using it to knit a full jumpsuit of bad decisions. One more outburst, and honestly, I'd be surprised if he didn't hit her with a contempt charge just to restore order. Let's see if she finally taps out or keeps trying to argue her way into a jail cell.
The only issue before me is the order that I issued in October, which was the judgment, and then the writ of eviction.
well, I failed the October. I don't know how. I got confused. I'm not accustomed to the courts.
Ma'am, but if at any given time, here's what the problem for you, Miss Ma'am, and I'm just going to be blunt about it. That judgment went out from the court shortly after my signing. All right.
Sir, may I ask something of you? Once an agreement is made in court, isn't that you respectfully gave me the month to month. He told me if I dropped the charges on his group, his client would agree to give me a month to month. I mean,
Then you're going to have to file a new claim that alleges that. That's not before me.
that's why I motioned in August.
No, but that is not before me today.
This is how I will state it.
No,
No,
you
wait.
won't.
I
That's
can
not before me.
I can pay the money. There was never a failure. I swear I had the money aside.
They want you out.
I
It's
didn't
not about the money.
they asked me to pay. There was no probable cause in any level. I called his office respectfully. I asked him for the sheet of paper for the month to month that was agreed upon after August. She put a renewal underneath my door. If she wanted me to leave, why was she sending me a renewal? She
Okay.
tried to take the money out in September and October. That would mean I'm still on a month to month. I just said, where is the paperwork to confirm that? My bank has it on the record, JP Morgan Chase, September and October.
Ma'am, they want you out.
But she asked me to renew.
Ma'am, I don't know about any of those conversations. They have properly been granted a judgment for possession. They properly filed the writ or the order of eviction. I've signed the order of eviction. There is no basis, and I've listened to everything you said to me. There is no basis.
Judge Boyd calmly removes her glasses, and that's when everyone knows the explosion is coming. Her voice transforms into a razor-sharp tone as she lectures the Brat about respect, accountability, and her constant childish behavior. She warns her that she is seconds away from being removed from the courtroom. The Brat tries talking over her, so Judge Boyd stands up, firm, furious, done. Bailiff, remove her, now.